climate change is truly an existential threat to all countries around the world.
Climate change is changing how we live, how we farm, how we eat, how we consume.
It's threatening food security in a lot of cases, water security, so that it already has contributed to and probably increasingly will contribute to more competition for scarce resources.
I think most military people will tell you that a lot of the future wars and conflicts will be about people migrating to lands where they aren't facing excessive heat or excessive cold, where they can have a life and grow crops.
What the military calls a threat multiplier. So it's in our interest to, help be part of the solution to address it for our own sakes in terms of the impacts we're experiencing here in the United States, but also for, broader security. Neither the impacts of climate change, or the causes, I should say, the causes of climate change, the emissions that are, heating up the atmosphere and causing these impacts, nor the impacts themselves, of course, respect borders. You have little Tuvalu, which is a little island country. It has 9 islands. It's in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. They have no real industry, so they do, emit very little in terms of, greenhouse gases. And yet I think they're the lowest emitter, in fact, in rankings around of all countries in the world. And yet they're one of the most vulnerable to climate change.
I think it's very difficult for the federal government diplomats to speak with foreign interlocutors on this issue because, we withdrew from the Paris climate talks.
If you were on an island in Tuvalu, and then you have countries, China and the United States, which are the 2 largest emitters of carbon, who are emitting carbon into the atmosphere. And when we emit carbon into the atmosphere, it's not just staying in the atmosphere above our country, it's the global atmosphere. So it's contributing to melting of the ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica, which in turn is giving rise to, rising sea levels, which is, threatening Tuvalu. So that's just, an illustration of how interconnected we all are on this issue and, share a responsibility. And as a diplomat, I think almost always it's better to be inside the tent trying to address issues and problems from within, as opposed to just, withdrawing and washing our hands of it.
We should resume leadership of the global climate talks as soon as possible.
We can only really be successful in addressing the threat through international cooperation.
We really need to put our money and our greatest talents in the electric transformation of our economy to reduce carbon emissions just as rapidly as possible. That is where the world is going. And if we are not at the cusp of that wave, we will be overwhelmed by that wave.
With or without the United States, the rest of the world is moving forward on those technologies. And if the U.S. wants to be part of the economic boom that comes from the growth of those technologies, I think it's really important that we're in those circles and supporting the research in those technologies and encouraging it.
The United States needs to be careful that despite the fact that we have enormous supplies of hydrocarbons of all nature, we don't wish to become a petrostate. We do not wish to work against the grain of history by taking stances that only make climate change worse.
We need renewables. We're not going to have enough oil and gas, and they, of course, create problems for our climate. We'll need them for a while to come, for sure. So I'm not for closing down the oil and gas industry today, but I am for building renewables so that my grandkids have a future.